After I caught my boyfriend serial cheating online, I opened 9 burner accounts and pretended to be 9 different girls to date him. My best friend screamed, "Love addict brain, go forage for weeds." But on Valentine's Day I unwrapped 10 different Valentines. She gave me a thumbs up. You're not love addict, you're CEO brain. Before we go on, smash subscribe and comment where you're listening from. Valentine's Day itself, Stella and I lugged 10 postal boxes from the courier locker back to my place. I tore open the first one addressed to me, lipstick set. Stella shoved her phone at me, disgusted. See? In Chase's eyes you're worth $100. I smiled without answering and kept unboxing. She groaned, love addict, every weed on the outskirts is yours to dig. Second box open, Stella's teeth flashed. Who sent this? Big spender. Still silent, I finished the rest. When the last lid popped, Chanel bags, Van Cleef bracelets, Cartier rings, the blinding gold bridal trio, all lined up on the floor. Stella's eyes were saucers. All from Chase? Chase is my man among friends. We met online, then in real life. His family runs business, textbook trust fund prince. At first I was drawn to his money, he, apparently, to my voice. Before we even met, I casually mentioned my phone battery was dying and he couriered the latest iPhone. My cat gnawed through my laptop. The next day a Mac showed up. Later, love addict brain fully engaged, he said we should meet and flew in overnight to buy a condo in my city. We moved in the day we met. Within weeks he'd talked me into quitting my job. He gave me $10,000 a month in pocket money, plus random grand gestures. I started living a life I'd never dared imagine. Shoes that used to cost 39 cents for a year's wear became $1,000 Jordans. Law got slathered on my ankles, bags under 4 figures didn't rate a glance. Gold on my arms, diamonds in my ears, blinged out luxury. Friends looked at me with pure envy, saying I was the star of my own rom-com. After all, Chase had cash, looks, and abs. Half a year in, I caught him sliding into other girls' DMs. I cried on Stella's shoulder for 3 hours. She begged me to dump him until her throat dried up, but I couldn't. Who walks away from money? Next day I registered 9 WhatsApp burners, Sichuan Spice Girl who loves cilantro, sweet otaku Lolita collecting figurines, returned Ivy League sophisticate, struggling actress on the fringe. Stella called me pathetic. I kept adding each persona to Chase's WhatsApp. Pretending I knew nothing, I went home. He said his mom was sick and he had to fly back. I nodded like the perfect girlfriend and offered to pick gifts for Eleanor. Chase was touched and Venmo transferred two $52,000 amounts on the spot. Guilty, he added, while I'm gone, buy yourself whatever you want. I bit my cheek recalling every childhood tragedy so I wouldn't laugh out loud. $100 grand, sweet mercy, a few more rounds and I could buy my own skyline. Once he left, I cycled through the 9 personas, chatting diligently. I even kept a spreadsheet, who said what, which address to ship gifts, so nothing slipped. Luckily I'm a decent actress and type fast. Pre-Valentine's I was just busy. My keyboard nearly caught fire, but I coaxed 10 gifts out of him. Too many? Call it overtime pay. Stella lifted her thumb. Queen for life. 10 numbered phones lined up in front of me. In Chuan chilly girl voice through a filter I sent Chase an audio. Got the gifts, when you come in to share cilantro and fish mint with May? On the sophisticate's phone I typed, Valentine received, not bad. Awaiting your next surprise. Then the Lolita phone, thankies, Oni-chan, for the frilly dress and Nendoroid. Stella watched the entire rotation, jaw slack, shouting legend. She asked what I'd do with the loot. I kept the lipstick set, listed everything else on Facebook. PayPal pings rang like slot machines, my PayPal balance neared 40,000. D put up with the creep a little longer and I'd be a homeowner. Just as I was celebrating, Chase texted he was flying back. Can't let him stick around, how would I roleplay? So I booked overnight tickets and escaped to Tokyo with Stella, sending a syrupy voice note. Sorry babe, my friend got dumped, I'm taking her to Japan to cheer her up. Chase replied, should I come over and carry your bags? My treat. Come over my foot, spotlight hog. I forced patience into my voice. Nope, she just got dumped. Watching us lovey-dovey will rub salt in it. Let's not traumatize her. After much persuasion he gave up and wired another 100 grand. Have fun, baby. Your favorite singer's touring Tokyo. I scored you 2 VIP tickets through friends. If my 9 phones hadn't been buzzing nonstop I might have believed the jerk actually loved me. We partied across Japan for a week and I still answered him like a 24-hour help desk. Good thing WhatsApp doesn't show IP or he'd have flown over for a group meeting. The day we flew home he met us in his brand new luxury ride. I secretly pinched Stella until tears streamed, looked convincingly like post-breakup sorrow. On the road I pretended my battery was dead, borrowed his phone for NAV to her place, and peeked at his WhatsApp. Perfect, he had deleted chats with all 9 burners. That night while he showered I sent 9 staggered messages from the burners, 2-minute gaps. When he came out I pointed at his phone on the coffee table. It's been buzzing nonstop, maybe something urgent? Chase turned away, panicky, scrolling. Just friends sending travel tips. I let out an elongated O. He sat, draping an arm around me. I felt awful skipping Valentine's, so I planned a surprise. Friends ruined it, almost made you doubt me. He'd drafted an entire itinerary on the flight. Lesson, Lies Spiral. He took me to the aquarium to watch jellyfish, then the priciest rooftop restaurant, and staged a candlelit proposal stunt. Proposal? Dude, are you Oka? Why? What chapter is this? I escaped to the restroom and called Eleanor. Sterling, Chase just proposed, what now? Eleanor stayed unruffled. Say yes, of course. I hung up and glared at my reflection. It's just a wedding, no big deal. While we were in Japan Eleanor had tracked me down. She laid out nearly every detail of my 9-burner con. I thought she'd demand the money back or ship me to court. Instead she asked me to teach her cyberspace romancing son a lesson. When the lesson stuck, she'd deed me the Sterling villa. And why should I trust you? If you decide to take it all back later, there's nothing I can do, is there? Eleanor smiled gently. It's being paid in full and registered under your name. You don't need to worry. And just like that, Eleanor and I struck a deal. Chase, that blockhead, is addicted to online romance, has been for years, and he loves turning pixels into flesh. I'm the 10th girl he's ever met, and the one who's lasted the longest. Because I never stick my nose where it doesn't belong. As long as the cash keeps coming and he stays happy, I'm good. That's exactly why Eleanor picked me to help cure him of his cyber habits. With her blessing, I said yes to his proposal stunt without a second thought. The flowers were gorgeous, the rock blinding. I posted the ring shot on Instagram the second I could. Stella's kamikaze FaceTime burst through while I was curled against Chase, inhaling the metallic tang of old money. God, it smelled divine. When I saw her the next day she screeched like a boiling kettle. He's a serial cheat. I'm all for you dating him and draining his wallet, but marriage? You're signing your life away. Name one modern marriage that actually lasts a lifetime. Stella stammered, still, you don't have to chain yourself to a loser. Small picture thinking. For a shameless gold digger like me, Chase is the crown jewel. She still looked lost, but whatever. 2 days later I dragged her to a storefront mid-renovation. Tell me, what would you do with this space? The dummy mouthed, AI? I almost cracked her skull open. Noting my eye roll into orbit, she backpedaled. Sounds like you already own the place and we can just wish our dreams true. I pulled the contract from my bag. Her shriek almost perforated my eardrums. Chase bought you a shop? Correction, I said. He's covering the entire startup tab. How on earth did you con him into that? Well, it started the night before last. I messaged Chase from a D-list actress's burner. The set is baking, everyone else has a star trailer, and I'm still begging for a corner to nap in. All I wanted was a car he could gift to my cousin, an extra in Hollywood. Bad luck, he replied while sitting right next to me. My libido flatlined on the spot. Quick thinking, I snatched his phone and jabbed at the girl's Instagram. Who is this? When did you add her? Why is she texting you? Caught red-handed, he hemmed and hawed. I kept the heat on until he nearly snapped, then switched to sugar. Forgiveness is cheap this time, buy me a shop. Chase balked. A shop? Too much hassle. I knew it wouldn't be that easy, so I sweet-talked him. If you don't bleed a little, you'll cheat again. How could I marry you then? Besides, once we're hitched, a thriving business makes you look good too, right? Luckily he's not too bright. After a minute he nodded. The second he caved I raced out and locked down the 1,100 square foot space I'd scoped out weeks earlier. When I brought him to see it, he whipped out his black card and bought the whole unit. I swear, I only meant to ask for a lease. But hey, I wasn't about to return a gift. While he hit the restroom the starlet's phone buzzed. Sure, babe, when I get to Hollywood you'd better treat me right. Hands shaking, I texted my cousin, you just got your ride. Stella glowed with awe. Girl, at this rate you'll be the billionaire, forget the bike. I knew I was still within Eleanor's guardrails. Squeeze his allowance dry until the car DS vanish. Stella paced the empty storefront. Let's mash up a flower shop with a cafe, lure artsy suckers, invite some influencers, blow it up on the gram. Sounded legit, and we weren't footing the bill. Construction roared ahead, we supervised daily. Lazy as Chase is, design is his thing, so he actually fed us solid ideas. Between site visits we lined up suppliers and filed the LLC papers. Now Stella and I are legit bosses. She stared at the shareholder page, grinning like a lunatic. Sis, I want to chase sunsets from the passenger seat of your Lamborghini. I smirked. That's just the beginning. After another brutal day I dragged myself home. Dark apartment, Chase was out. I suddenly realized I hadn't checked my spare phones. I fished them out of my bag. Not a single notification. I lined them up on the coffee table, pulled new masked and sunglassed shots from group chats, and queued fresh posts. The second I uploaded the last one, Chase staggered and drunk. My heart lurched, a phone slipped and clattered to the floor. He squinted, hiccuping. Whoa, why am I seeing double, triple, phones? I grabbed his wrist. Easy, Tiger. Why so much booze? While I cooed, I kicked the devices under the couch. He slumped against me, breath reeking. Wendy, I'm useless. All I've ever done is spend. Tonight Mom phoned to say she's gonna freeze the cards. Freeze the cards? That means the Sterling Villa can't be far behind. I sprang up so fast he toppled to the carpet. He rubbed his butt. What was that for? I hauled him up and petted his hair. Relax, we've got our own shop now. Once we open, I'll take care of you. Back on the sofa he found a handful of plastic. No need, I still have savings. Savings that won't last the week. His chest heaved, definitely about to blow. I leapt clear before the vomit hit. When he finished I handed him water. He took a sip and sighed. Guess I'll have to tighten the belt. I murmured agreement, coaxed him to bed, then returned to mop the floor. Under the couch the burner chorus chimed, no doubt Venmo notifications. 5 grand, 200, one after another, I claimed every cent. Then came his farewell text. Baby, I can't give you what you deserve. Keep this as breakup hush money. Let's not talk again. Chase, you saint, paying alimony for a breakup? Before I could answer, another bubble popped up. P.S. Forgot to mention, I've always had a girlfriend. Tonight she said she'd support me. No one's ever said that. I can't hurt her anymore. Great, now he wants to hang himself on my tree? Feeling the slope getting slippery, I quietly texted his mother. Eleanor's directive had been clear, make a scene, just don't burn the house down. The next morning, while Chase was still nursing his hangover, I asked if he remembered a single word he'd slurred the night before. He scratched his head until his hair stood up in guilty little tufts, still coming up blank. I helpfully reminded him. You told me you've got 9 other girls on the side, every one prettier, sweeter, and better at stroking your ego than I'll ever be. You said sleeping next to me is a nightly nightmare, that most mornings you look at me and want to puke. I sobbed the words, swiping at my mascara, then clutched my chest and let the tears jam in my throat right on cue. Somebody call the Academy, best dramatic performance in a toxic relationship. Chase lunged to hug me in panic. I planted both palms on his sternum and shoved. He rolled off the couch and crashed to the rug. Don't touch me, Chase. I need to digest what you said, and decide if there's still in us to salvage. I'm going to move out. No, Wendy, don't bolt. Let me explain. To look properly gutted, I mentally scrolled through every gross thing I'd ever seen, roadkill squid, high school cafeteria chili, until, the instant he wrapped his arms around me, my stomach delivered. I hurled all over his cashmere hoodie. I went pale. Sorry, Chase. I literally can't look at you right now. He was gagging on my vomit, but still played saint, reaching out to comfort me. Disgusting. Get away from me. I sprang back like he was on fire. Finally he caved and agreed I could leave. I stuffed every purse, bracelet, lock-cream jar, and stiletto he'd ever bought me into matching luggage. He watched, frowning. You look like you're never coming back. A flicker of guilt shot through me, but I doubled down. That what you're hoping? So you can run to your little harem the second I'm gone? He deflated, mouth sealed. I hauled the mountain of bags to the Uber I'd pre-ordered. He didn't offer a finger. On the sidewalk he fake asked, need a ride? Called my Uber already, genius, where were you 5 minutes ago? I dared not let him follow, he'd spot my new nest. No thanks, Uber's easy. In the rearview mirror his figure shrank and vanished. Good riddance, I thought. This is finally over. At least he kept quiet. When Bloom opened, the only sign he'd noticed was a couple of ribboned flower baskets. Stella raised a brow. Girl, you're officially free. We didn't know trouble was just clocking in. The shop was slammed. Passers-by saw the grand opening discount and poured in. We spun like dervishes, skipping lunch, high on caffeine and thorns. The minute traffic slowed, we had to interview baristas. I opened the hiring app and read, candidate, arrived at entrance. I stepped outside, scanning for the profile photo, no match. A hand clamped over my wrist. Wendy, stop searching. The applicant is me. Chase sat across from me, resume crisp, expression mock serious. I glanced at the paper, name, headshot, work history, none of it his. After 3 softball questions, I slid the sheet back. Chase, recess is over. My shop isn't kindergarten. He stayed put, voice dropping. I screwed up. Give me one more shot. I deleted every side contact. Let's build a life, just us. He flipped his phone, scrolling through emptier chat lists, then produced a purchase agreement from his pocket. I know trust is rubble, so here. As concrete proof, I bought you a car. My pupils turned into dollar signs, but I kept my tone flat. Paid in full, already titled to you. Under the table I pinched my thigh, yep, awake, and the jackpot was real. Chase, we're nothing now. An expensive gift crosses lines. Want screaming yes, etiquette says no. So he pocketed the keys again. Right then the door chimed. In glided his mother, diamonds catching the track lights. Looks like you're no gold digger after all. I approve the marriage. Chase jumped up to escort her. Wendy, my mom's here to plan the wedding. She's buying us the Sterling Villa as a starter home. I side-eyed Eleanor. You serious? Does Sterling think this is a game? I almost bit my tongue. Of course not. But you know my background, none of this was in my fantasy script. Eleanor settled gracefully into a chair. I had you vetted. One younger brother, middle-class parents, none of it matters to us. Confused, I kept quiet, I wasn't in a position to argue. Next day she whisked me to the villa and pressed the keys into my palm. Now, impress me, she murmured. A few friends dragged Stella and me to Neon to toast the shop. My mind kept drafting Chase strategy charts, couldn't focus. Stella slapped my thigh. Wendy, 10 o'clock, Chase. Sure enough, he had 3 hourglass-shaped beauties tucked under his arms. The boy hands me ammunition on a platter, heart eyes emoji. My friends relocated us to the table directly behind him. He bragged to his buddies, told you, she's no cash leech. Offered her a ride, she didn't even blink. I almost lost a diamond, damn it. He planted a kiss on the nearest glossy lip. His friend side-eyed him. Funny, you're mourning the one while tasting the next. Chase nuzzled her neck. You don't get it, my heart flatlined. Heart's dead, mouth's alive, and so are both hands. Everything's working fine. I nearly burst laughing. They nailed it. I killed the grin, stood, and tipped my bottle over his head. Scumbag. Proposing by daylight. Groping a trio by moonlight. The bar thundered with music, but gossip is universal. Patrons formed a volunteer Avenger squad, fists rained on Chase. Stella added a champagne shower, other girls spat for emphasis. Watching him cower, a weird ache pinched me. I stormed out on cue, Chase stumbled after. Wendy, I was wasted, believe me, you're the only one in here. Inside I scoffed, lighter fluid on a ghost, nice try. I stared, silent frost, until he squirmed. I swear they disgust me too. Don't be mad, okay? I'll delete them, cut them off, watch. He blocked them faster than a bartender last call. Chase, we're done. Curtain closed. Back home I briefed Eleanor. She said her son never accepts a breakup he didn't decree, he'd be back. Mothers know. He returned on schedule, cars, rides, public bouquets. Always an audience. And the farce played on. The way I carried on, even the staff at Bloom thought he truly loved me. Every day they gazed at me with starry eyes, sighing about how lucky I was. Pure performative personality. I figured I'd swing to the opposite extreme and smother him with hot violence, cling until Chase couldn't breathe and bolted overnight. But I still needed an opening to get back together first. Chase was like a mind reader. Every time I hatched a thought, he delivered. Buddha himself wasn't that responsive. That afternoon he yanked me into his car, all mysterious, claiming he had a surprise destination. I assumed it was some new season handbag, but he screeched to a halt outside Harborview. A handful of real estate brokers bowed so low they almost kowtowed, pouring tea and water, terrified their money god might sprint away. After their enthusiastic spiel about square footage and marble bathrooms, I was still wood stiff. Chase tugged my arm. Wendy, which unit do you like? I like them all. His smile froze at the corners, as if mentally calculating an exit strategy. Kidding. What are you doing, buying me a condo? Chase nodded, repeating that he knew he D screwed up and wanted to apologize sincerely. The apartment would be my amends. Only an idiot turns down free real estate. Still, we needed to set terms now to avoid future wrangling. I can't swing a mortgage, Chase. You know I'm unemployed. No loan. I'm paying cash. The second he said it, he fished my ID out of my purse and marched over to sign with the sales team, moving so fast you'd think I might vanish. I walked out clutching the purchase agreement, dazed. Just like that, I owned both a penthouse and a villa. Chase pointed at one high floor. Wendy, look, that's your home. I burst into tears and dove into his arms. Sweet Buddha, I really love you. Chase, you're forgiven this time. But if I ever catch you tangled with another woman again, I won't relent. And I'm keeping every house, car, and storefront you give me. Chase pouted, offended. I've got money to burn. Even if we split, I won't ask for any of it back. You'd better mean that. Suddenly armed with property, wheels, and bloom, I professed undying love and bombarded Chase with texts and calls the instant he was out of sight, classic clingy shadow. I kept dragging him home to taste my cooking. Watching him choke down my inky disasters while lying that it was delicious twisted my conscience. Add to that Eleanor's new barista, Tiffany, whispering sweetness to him over lattes. Chase was already fed up. One more log on the fire and we'd burn out fast. To highlight Tiffany's youth, beauty, and elegance, I showed up barefaced and sloppy beside him, slurping noodles, picking my toes, anything revolting. One afternoon I rounded a storage shelf and spotted him holding Tiffany. I stayed cool, quiet, tactful, invisible. The climax came on Tiffany's birthday. I guessed Chase would stage some surprise, so I dragged Stella and another clerk out under the excuse of market research. We shopped and dined. While I texted Chase that I'd be late, he was on his own for dinner. When the timing felt right, Stella and I stormed back to Bloom. There in the supply closet, Chase had Tiffany wrapped in his arms. I dialed the melodrama to 11. You too? Chase stepped in front of her. I unleashed the lines I'd rehearsed 100 times. Chase, I gave you everything. Why betray me like this? I cooked, I washed, I worried, this is how you repay me. And Tiffany, I treated you like a sister, how could you? Chase flushed crimson. I'm the one who's sorry. Don't blame her. Wow, Chase, impressive backbone. He barreled on, irritated. Wendy, since you've seen it, I'll say it, we're done. I'm with Tiffany now. Letting tears drip, I asked if he was sure, if he truly wanted to gut me. He clasped Tiffany's hand and looked at me with revulsion. Positive. I'm sick of this. God, friends, my heart cartwheeled, yet I had to act shattered. As they walked away, I dived back into the role, grabbing his sleeve and bawling. Chase, please don't go, how will I survive without you? I'll change, anything, just come back. Or we can go three-way, she's the queen, I'll be the side flag. After that spectacle Chase stared in contempt. Wendy, you're shameless, no bottom line at all. Quit stalking me. He shook me off and roared away with Tiffany. I clutched my stomach, laughing until I wheezed. Stella hauled me up, anxious. Told you he's trash, but you wanted a wedding. He kicked you, does it hurt? I laughed until the tears blurred. Stella hugged me and cried too. I'm finally, filthily rich. Terrified I'd haunt him, Chase fled the city overnight. He even sold the apartment. Eleanor wired the proceeds, calling it my consultation fee. I subtly asked about him and Tiffany. Word was she'd drained his accounts. After leaving Bloom she hopped straight into a luxury ride, laughing that Chase was all flash, no cash. Left him standing, birthday cake in hand, the car he'd sold to fund her party gone. Eventually Mommy Dearest coaxed the prodigal home. I returned the skyline he'd bought. Eleanor praised me for not being greedy. With a villa already mine, why covet a penthouse? If I'd kept it, they might have yanked everything back. Bloom settled into steady profit. I renovated the villa and bought a practical runabout. House, car, savings, officially a mini tycoon. All 9 of my phones finally fell silent. I locked them in a drawer, each one a paved brick on my road to riches. I thought life was trending upward, until a single call yanked me back to square one. No matter how far I run, I still have to return to that cage called family. This time, though, I had the bank balance to break free for good. The hometown scenery hadn't changed. Mom had bought Kid an in-town condo. They were installed and comfortable. 3 bedrooms, none for me. She suggested I book a hotel. The tiny study was earmarked for a future grandchild, unsuitable for a daughter. They summoned me to subsidize Kid's wedding wheels, a $500,000 Mercedes-Benz, and I wondered where they found the nerve. I stared at Mom's boasting and swore not another cent. Since graduation she'd siphoned every paycheck, promising to save for me. I'd helped fund that condo too, yet my name wasn't on the deed. It was their home, never mine. I'd always been the outsider. When grad school aid fell through, they forced me to sign an IOU. The moment I landed a job, they demanded repayment. I begged for breathing room, starting salaries are low. They branded me ungrateful, worse than a stray mutt. Later they duped me into handing over my disposable income. For years I rotated the same 3 outfits. I slapped $10,000 on the table. This is the last cash you'll see from me. I'm not coming back. Predictably, they cursed, same labels, same insults. This time I let them ricochet off me. Driving away, I spotted a rainbow spanning the horizon, and I aimed my wheels straight toward it. After every storm, comes a rainbow. The blinding technicolor halo swam across my eyes, washing everything out. Wendy, wake up. So. Mion's voice kept looping in my ear. Therapist told me my depression had deepened. She said I shouldn't drown in things that have already happened, things I can't rewrite, but I need to learn how to turn the page, slowly. I actually want to turn the page, too, but I just can't. Otherwise I wouldn't be sick, right? Everything you read above is a story I invented. The truth is the exact opposite. I don't have stop traffic looks, I don't have a head-turning body, my resume is plain white paper, my only selling point is a sugar-sweet voice. I met Chase in an online game, we slid into DMs, met in person, and moved in together on day 1, stuck like glue after that. He had just landed in Riverdale, no friends, lonely, he didn't want me going to an office. After asking my salary, he Venmo transferred me double that amount and told me to quit. God knows what short-circuited in my brain. I resigned the next day and went horizontal. Of course post-paycheck life felt dreamy. Daily routines were shopping sprees and weekend trips, plus 2 kittens we co-parented. Chase treated me like glass, whatever I asked for, the answer was purchased. $10 sneakers that lasted a year were swapped for $1,000 AJs, law slathered on my ankles, bags under 4 digits weren't worth a glance. Gold everywhere I looked, diamonds dripping, an Eris glow. All true, but only for the opening act. I couldn't pin the day it tipped. Once a week bouquets disappeared, replaced by me having to beg for a stem. Holidays went from Birkins to bargain bin junk. The promised 10 grand monthly allowance dropped to 8 after 90 days. Chase said, "You blow through cash, can't you economize? What happens when we marry, when we have kids?" I nodded. Marriage was the endgame, after all. Because I'd quit and I love food, my weight rocketed to 140. Friends begged me to stop spiraling, to diet and move before Chase bailed. I spun to Chase, "Am I fat?" He didn't even look. "Nope." I sulked. If he didn't think I was huge, who were they to judge? They pushed me harder. Stop depending on a guy, snag a job, squirrel something away. If he dumped me I'd be ruined. I stayed stubborn, cleared jealousy because someone bankrolled me. Chase vowed to open Bloom for me, the plan was in motion. I bragged in the group chat, hands clapping emoji. Stella asked what slice of shares I'd get, whether the deed sat in my name. I answered, dead sure, of course. I was positive I was the happiest woman alive, a man who spoiled me rotten. Later I learned Bloom and I shared 0 DNA. No registry under my name, no shares transferred. Chase shrugged, guess I forgot. I let it slide, forgetfulness happens, marriage was coming, his assets would be mine anyway. Half a year passed. I said, let's wed, let's get our parents around a table. Chase agreed, claimed he could call the shots, and opened talks with my family over bride price, dowry, venue. The talks petered out into nothing. He even froze my allowance, my pulse hammered, so I pestered him for updates. He kept saying, "I've got it, don't rush," but the math in my stomach didn't add up. Days before my birthday he took me test driving. That night the salesman texted me for a confirmation code, only then did I learn the car was meant for me. I squealed to Stella and the others at 2 a.m. "Look, Chase is gifting me wheels." Crickets, no reply. Whatever. I'd have a new ride, a man crazy for me, a marriage license, soon I'd be living another tax bracket. I daydreamed routes for our post-pickup road trip daily. A month dragged by, still zero sight of the car. Chase had conned me, fury exploded, but one sentence stuffed my mouth with cotton. "I just don't want to give it anymore, what are you going to do?" I threw tantrums, threatened a split, he stayed carved from ice. I ended up bowing my regal head and apologizing. Barely reconciled, I discovered a new girl on his WhatsApp, read packets, takeout orders, surprise gifts. The room spun black, my friend's PR officey in blood red ink. Panic punched, I stared at the 140 pounds in the mirror and vowed to slash them. Crash dieting tasted like punishment, cardio felt like drowning. A week later I surrendered. As long as he hadn't dumped me, I could still walk down that aisle, dream on. Reality slapped harder. I found his anonymous post in a forum. He described me as lazy, greedy, jobless, bad-tempered, worthless, swore he'd never marry me. Comments foamed, bitch, kick her to the curb. He'd paid a lot, sure, but I'd paid in emotional labor. How could that be his version of me? I didn't confront him, I pretended I'd seen nothing and clicked the darkness shut. Leaving him felt fatal, no upgrade waited out there. If I stayed sweet, obedient, day 1000 might thaw his heart. That day never arrived, he still said, it's over. He moved back to his hometown overnight, receding like an ebbing tide. I lost everything, down to the designer bags he hauled away. No job, no friends, no cash cushion. Night after night insomnia pickled me, depression snuck in and pitched a tent. Regret looped on replay. If I hadn't rushed into cohabitation, if I hadn't let myself rot, maybe we'd still be us. I escape into an alternate cut sometimes. I keep my brain on cash, not on love, milk chase dry, exit owning the skyline. But when the pill wears off, the theater collapses, the seats are empty. Therapist repeats, lean on family, meet friends, go taste the world's light. I have neither allies left nor a tongue for color, my universe is matte black. I tried calling Stella, straight to voicemail, no callback. She ghosted like Chase. Mom's colder still. Once they realized Chase slipped the hook, disappointment stamped their faces. They'd banked on him to lift the household. Another yawn, those meds sandbagged my eyelids. I shut them, maybe the loop resets the dream where I'm not a love addict, where spreadsheets outrank Valentines. Thanks for listening. If you liked this clip, smash like, share with friends, Eerie dying to read your takes in the comments. Subscribe for more twisted stories, see you next upload.